Hey guys, welcome. Today's beginner practice is going to focus on balancing poses, which I think can be both fun and challenging, and usually ask us to have a little bit of a sense of humor as we might wobble a little bit as we work through different places of balance. We're going to start by bringing in a little core stability because it can be really helpful to think about it working from our core as we work for balance instead of just trying to kind of muscle through with maybe one foot on the ground and find our place from there. So we'll go ahead and start lying down on our backs. Once you get there, draw your knees into your chest. You can hold your knees or the fronts of your shins and just take a moment, take a little rock side to side. You can let your eyes close for a moment or just soften. Let the back of your head rest back. And also just let your shoulders be heavy. And just starting to find a little massage through your spine, through the low back. And take this moment just to settle in, to pause and make that transition. I think balance poses can also be really beneficial for finding a little bit of surrender. Right? There's a place where we turn on the stability, but then there's also a place where we have to kind of let things wobble and move around a little bit as our body adapts to that balance, right? And the more often that we try to force it, that's usually when things start to get a little more wobbly. So where is that place between a little bit of stability and intention, and then also just allowing it to be whatever it is? And I think balance poses are one of those I know for myself in practice it can be really different day to day. Okay, from here, release the fronts of your shins, stack your knees over your hips, and then bring your ankles in line with your knees. So almost like you're sitting in a chair here, lying down on your back, right? So 90-degree angle-ish at hips, knees, and ankles. Okay, bring your arms out to the sides, flex your feet, and hug your legs towards one another. So it just feels like things are strong and hugging into the midline. Start to lift up and in with your lower belly so you get that support start to turn on. Take a full breath in. And then as you exhale, bring both knees over towards the left. We're not going to come all the way down. You might just come an inch or two. You might bring your legs more to hover off the mat, right, wherever it feels like your stopping point is. And then inhale, come back to center. Exhale over to the right. Now your right knee's going to want to come down with gravity. Keep inner legs strong. And again, maybe just a couple inches, maybe a little further. Find your place. Right? From your center, inhale, come back. And then to your left. And just start to move with your breath side to side. Whatever matches your rhythm. Inhale to center. Exhale to twist. See if you can keep your upper body pretty quiet so that this twist is coming through hips and pelvis and low back, right? Legs, obviously, but so that we're working to wake up that center your core. Good. Over to the right one more time, just so we complete both. Inhale, come back to center, and then exhale, stretch both legs up to the ceiling. Flex your feet, press up through your heels, and now your knees might have a little bend in here, especially if hamstrings are feeling less flexible today. Find the place that feels right for you. And again, settle back through your head and your shoulders, and feel the tone up through your low belly. Take a breath in. And then with your exhale, start to lower your right leg down towards the mat. And here's again where stop where it feels right. It might be a few inches. It might be a little bit more towards hover. Really listen to your low back and the support there. Inhale, right leg all the way back up. And then exhale, left leg. Press out through your heel as you lower down so the leg stays strong and active. Lower to wherever feels right for you. And then inhale, come back up. And again, just move a little bit side to side with your breath. Right leg down, right? Whether it's a couple inches, halfway, or hover, back up. And then to the left. Good. Keep going with your breath. Right. And we'll work some different aspects of the core to warm up. I think so often we think about core just as like the front side in our belly. But if we think about it more as what wraps around the whole torso, front and side bodies and back body, Then we can really wake up that area that gives us a little bit more stability and support. Let's do one more each side, right? Or finish up if you're just finishing up the left side. Good. And then when you're ready, again, hug both knees into your chest. Take a little rock side to side. And then we're coming to that tabletop position, so hands and knees. You can either hold behind your thighs and roll up. You can roll to your side and press up. See what would feel like a better way to get there for you. And then as you get set up, you want to stack your shoulders right over your wrists and your hips over your knees. Right? And get really intentional with your hands here. So you're going to spread wide through your fingertips. There's lots of space between each finger. And then look to see that the creases of your wrist line up with the front of your mat. And by that meaning your hands aren't turned way out or way in. So when we line up the creases of the wrist, it can help give your hands a little bit more support. And then really press down into your hands and give a little grip with your fingertips, kind of like you're clawing at your mat. Okay, from there, zip up through your lower belly. And then even think of hugging your outer waistline in. I often think of this one like a drawstring, right? Like I'm drawing the drawstring in on pants. And then we start to activate that support along the side bodies as well. Okay, keep that, but as you inhale, arch your back, look forward. And then exhale, round through your back, draw your chin in towards your chest. Move through a couple rounds of cat-cow. Inhale, arch your back, look forward. And then exhale, round. Right, so there's some movement even with that support of the core. Inhale, come forward so that it's supported but not rigid, right? Not locked up. We're not just kind of letting the belly and the back flop around in cat-cow. Let's do one more round. Come forward, inhale, arch your back. And then exhale, round. Okay, stay here in your cat pose. Take your right hand, thread it behind your left. Come to rest either on the side of your head or a block or a pillow underneath your head might be really nice here too. I'm starting to warm up the spine a little bit too. And so you can turn down the back of your right hand. And then with your left hand, either keep it right there for support. You can walk it forward or reach around your back, right? Hand to your low back or to the crease of your thigh. And press actively through your right hand. Roll your chest open. Take a couple of breaths. Okay, with your inhale, unwind. Come back to tabletop. Good. And then one more round of cat-cow in between. So inhale, arch your back, look forward. And then exhale again, round. Do the same, stay in your cat pose. This time thread your left hand behind your right. Again, come to rest on the side of your head. All right, I like to go here with right palm up. Nope, sorry, left palm up. So it gives a little bit more rotation in the shoulder. And then press down through the back of your hand. And then right hand can stay there, walk forward, wrap around, see what feels good on this side. And then just let your upper body, your chest roll into the twist. Start to warm up that upper back. We did some twists for the lower body on our back. Just getting the spine warmed up. Good. Unwind, inhale. Back to your tabletop. You can take one more round of that cat-cow. That feels good just to get a little movement after the hold. And then come back to your center at tabletop. Make sure again that shoulders are stacked over wrists and the creases of your wrists are parallel with the front of your mat. And press down into your fingertips, lift up through your low belly, and hug your outer waist in. So again, think that drawstring in towards the center. Okay, keep that, stretch your right leg out behind you, flex your foot, and then roll your inner right thigh up, right? Sometimes when we lift, the right hip gets really high. So if you roll the inner thigh up to help level out through your pelvis, that's probably actually going to ask the core to work a little bit more. Okay, so this already we're starting to balance, right? We're lifting a knee. So this is a great stage one, stay right here. Or stretch your left arm out in front, turn your thumb up, And this is our diagonal balance, right? This is going to ask for a little bit more. You might start to feel a little wobble, right? So keep the lift of low belly, hug outer waist in, and breathe. So often we're focused on balancing poses, we forget to breathe. Where's that steady rhythm of your breath? Okay, take a breath in here, and you can do this with just your leg or with arm and leg. And then as you exhale, elbow towards knee to connect under your body. They might not touch at all, they might get close, whatever works. Inhale, lengthen back out. And then exhale, round, elbow to knee, hug in. Inhale, stretch it back. And then one more time, elbow to knee, squeeze up and underneath. You have the balance and the wobble. Inhale, and then exhale, knee down, hand down, take a breath. Check the position of your hands, right? And then I think about like up like the zipper of your low belly, and then drawstring, hug outer waist in. With that support, lift your left leg up behind you, flex your foot, right? And think about like turning the pinky toe down towards your mat to level out through your hips. Right, feel the support through center. If this feels like enough balance, stay here. Or reach your right arm out in front, turn your thumb up, right? Keep pressing down with your left hand, left fingertips, find that support. Right, and then I like to think about it like hugging into center here. Press your right hand in without letting it move, like you're pressing into someone else's hand. Good, take a breath in. And then exhale, elbow to knee, curling around under your body. Inhale, lengthen it out, just move with your breath. Exhale, curl and round. Right, just like that cat pose, low back up, yep, chin towards chest. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round. And if your breath rhythm's a little different from my cues, listen to where your breath is. Inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, hand down, knee down. Nice work. Okay, from here, we're going to come to downward facing dog. So walk your hands forward a couple inches, but keep that same strong position with your hands. And then inhale, lift your hips, stretch them up and back. Bring your legs to or towards straight. A little bend in the knees might be helpful here. Again, especially if low back or hamstrings are a little tighter. Okay, and then as you root down through your hands, press them down and forward, right? They're not going to move. It's just like you're stretching them towards the front of your mat. And lift your hips up high and back behind you. Take a full breath in. Full breath out. And with your inhale, slide forward to high plank pose. You want to stack shoulders right over wrists. You can have knees up. You can also bring knees down for a little bit more support. It'd be a really nice way to support yourself in plank. Right, stay really strong through your hands. Find that zip through your low belly and hug your outer waistline in. Take a full breath in. You got this. And then exhale, bring your knees down. Point your elbows straight back as you lower all the way to your belly. Good. And then untuck your toes, press the tops of your feet down. Walk your hands back a little bit so they're by your lower ribs. Point your elbows straight back. You can let your chin or your forehead rest to your mat for a moment. Good. And then here, as you lift up through your low belly, you can also think about it as your tailbone lengthening back towards your heels. Good. Take a breath in. Full breath out. And with your inhale, lift up through your head, chest and shoulders, cobra pose. Right? It might just be a small back bend to start with. Press down through the tops of your feet so your legs are strong. And then you're just going to float your palms, even like a millimeter off the mat. So you're not using your hands. Now you're getting the strength of your back to turn on. Full breath in. Good. Lower all the way down. Exhale. Inhale, come through tabletop. And then exhale all the way back again, downward facing dog. Take a full breath. Right, notice where your hands are. And then lift your hips up and high. Let your head get heavy. Okay, from here, start to walk your feet forward towards the front of your mat. And you might hit a stopping point where it's like legs don't want to go anymore. That's fine. Wherever that is, stop there. Bring hands to hips. And with your inhale, come all the way up. And if you're not up at the front of your mat, just take a big step forward. Right? You can start with feet hip width apart. Think about that like two fists. Sometimes we overestimate what hip width apart is. Bring hands to your hips. And then think press down from hips into your feet as you stand tall. Right? Even here, lift up through low belly and then outer waistline in. Good. Keep that inhale, reach both arms up. And then exhale, bend your knees, sit back to chair pose, right? So just like you're sitting in a chair without the support, and you might have just a little bend in your knees, and you might sit a little lower, do what feels right for you. Go ahead, bring your hands to your hips or hands to prayer. All right, let the weight settle back into your heels. So what you want to see is if you look down at your knees, that your toes are just peeking out in front. Right, and then imagine you had a ball in between your legs, squeeze without letting them move. Strong legs. Full breath in. Full breath out. Good. Inhale, stand all the way up, reach your arms up. And then with your exhale, hinge at your hips. So not at your waist, but at your hips so your spine stays long. Fold forward. You're always welcome to bend knees and forward fold. Bend them enough to get your hands to your mat. And then step back to that high plank position again. Knees up or knees down for a little bit more support. Right. Strong through your hands. Line up the creases of your wrists. Take a breath in, tone through your belly. And with your exhale, bring your knees down if they're not already. Point your elbows straight back as you lower all the way to your belly. Press down through the tops of your feet. Right. Lengthen your tailbone back towards your heels. Full breath out. Inhale, lift up through head, chest, shoulders. Keep pointing your elbows back and keep the back of your neck long. It usually feels like your back bending more if you look forward, but then the neck's really crunched. Right, so you're probably just looking right at the front of your mat. And then go ahead and float your hands up just a hair, right, so that you're not using the strength of your arms at all, just the strength of your back. Good. Inhale. And then exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale, come back, tabletop. Okay, from tabletop, now walk your hands again so they're underneath your shoulders. Okay, we're going to take our first balance pose from here. Well, we did the diagonal balance already from tabletop before. Okay, so you're going to take your left toes just off to the side of your mat like a little kickstand. And you can bend your toes to the top of your foot, whatever feels more stable in your body. Walk your left hand forward a couple of inches. So there's a little more diagonal from your shoulder to your hand. Right, and then you're gonna roll onto your left hand, left knee, and stretch your right leg long. Right, so you have this one straight line from hand to knee to back foot. Right, point your right toes towards the long end of your mat. Right, so you're working to getting the whole back foot down to start with. Right, and just like down dog or plank, anywhere else, really strong through your left hand anytime we bear weight on it. Okay, lift through low belly, hug outer waistline and feel that support. And then options from here, you can say, I'm gonna stay right here. This feels like really good work already. Or start to float your right leg up to challenge the balance a little bit. Good, right? Think about moving from your core. And as things start to wobble a little bit, let the stability of center be what you come back to, so that leg might wobble a little, arm might wobble, just where balance is. Okay, breath in, and then bring your foot down, come back tabletop, take a breath. And we'll just switch sides. So you're gonna take right foot off the side. That back leg is really nice for a little extra balance with the kickstand. And then walk your right hand forward a few inches, right? See that diagonal from shoulder to wrist, just so we're not putting a lot of weight straight down on the wrist if it's just one hand. Roll to your right hand, right knee, and then stretch your left foot in line. And so that it's hand, knee, foot, straight down the long end of your mat. Right? Point your left toes towards the long end of your mat. You could also think about that like the pinky toe side of your foot lines up with the back edge of your mat. Okay, press down strongly into your right hand and grip with your right fingertips. Lots of support. And then stay here with the foot down, or maybe lift your leg up. If you do that, flex your foot. Feel that stability through your center. And just pay attention to where your breath is. It's also not uncommon at all in balance poses that one side feels more stable than the other. So if you notice that, just often how our bodies are. Okay, lower your leg down, come back to tabletop, and walk your hands forward a couple inches, right? And then even here, you can really press down into hands, grip at fingertips, and lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Okay, from down dog, we're gonna walk back. So walk your hands towards the back of your mat. You might bend your knees as you get there. Bring your hands to your hips. And then really press into your feet with your inhale, come all the way up to standing. Exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. Okay, so into our first standing balance pose, which is tree pose, or called Vrikshasana. If you have a wall nearby, sometimes that's really nice. A dresser or a chair, sometimes that even just like one finger to there, if the balance is feeling really unsteady, can help you to get into the pose and start to work with that in your body instead of just falling over. So know that that's a really good option. Okay, you can start with feet together. You can stay wherever it works for you. I just want you to be able to see my legs. And then you're going to shift your weight off into your left foot and bring your right foot up for tree pose. So a couple options here. The kickstand with your toes is really nice. So toes down, heel to your ankle. That gives you a little extra support. You can do sole of your foot to your inner calf, or depending on range of motion, to your upper inner thigh. Okay, try to just avoid the knee itself. So you want to be above or below the knee joint, so we're not pressing that off in the opposite direction. Okay, go ahead, bring hands to heart or even hands to hips. If it feels like the support of a piece of furniture or the wall right there would be really nice, do that. Okay, root down into your standing foot. So think press from hip to foot. And then press the sole of your lifted foot and your leg into one another. Squeeze into center. Lift up through your belly. Hug your outer waistline in. Right? And then you've created that support. So as things wobble, right? Like I'm wobbling for sure. Especially as I do that, I always try and talk and watch and do it at the same time. If you can just allow those little wobbles to happen, right? Without forcing it, without fighting it. So there's a little fluidity. Okay, bring your foot down, switch sides. So stand into your right foot and then either kickstand with the toes, right? Inner calf, inner shin, or sole of your foot to the upper inner thigh. Right? Hands to heart, hands to waist. Root down into your left foot, really press. And then press the sole of your lifted foot and your inner leg in, like you're squeezing them in towards center. Good. Belly up, outer waist in. Breathe. Are we breathing? And if it feels pretty good here and you want to challenge the balance a little bit, you can reach your arms up overhead. If that feels like maybe that's going to throw everything off, stay where you are. Good. Pick a focus point for your eyes, just something you can gaze at. It really helps with balance. Okay, and then both hands down, both feet down. And nice, feel both feet back down to the ground. Okay, inhale, reach both arms up. And then exhale, fold forward. Good. Walk your hands all the way forward again, downward facing dog. Okay, from down dog, now we're just going to walk forward to the front of your mat. And so again, if you kind of hit that stopping point with hamstrings, wherever that is, stop. Bring hands to hips. Inhale, come all the way up. And then if you're not already, just take a step forward to the front of your mat. Right? Sometimes the things that sound simple, like walking forward, our body's mobility, range of motion has to work and get there along the way. Hands to your heart. Root through your feet. Inhale, both arms up. And then exhale, fold forward. Lift halfway, take a breath in. Exhale, fold. Right, again, bent knees or straight legs. And then go ahead, step your left foot, that one, back into low lunge. Right, so that your front knee, your right knee's over your ankle. You have a nice long stance front to back. So we're going to work into crescent lunge, which has both feet down, but I still find definitely to be a balance pose. So look at your feet. If it looks like you're standing on a tightrope, meaning your front heel and your back toes are in one long line, walk your right foot out to the right a little bit, right? So it feels more like they're in line with your hips. They're on separate tracks instead of on that tightrope, really nice for balance. And then root through your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Reach both arms up overhead. Yep, even that, just that lift off from the ground. Good. Squeeze your inner legs to center. All right, press down into your front heel. And you can have the knee even a little bit back, just as long as your knee's not coming, or your knee's not coming forward of your ankle. Okay, bring your arms out wide, inhale. And then you're going to wrap right arm underneath left. And so you have two choices. You can do hands to shoulders, or you can wrap forearms and bring your palms together, eagle arms. Okay, steady gaze, point at your arms. Keep your inner legs strong. And then lift your elbows up in line with your shoulders. See if you can take 2 full steady breaths. Just notice maybe where things wobble a little bit, it's fine. If you tip over, we just come back. We giggle a little bit and come back. Okay, release your arms, take a breath in. Bring your hands down to your mat, take a big step forward. And then just switch sides. So you can even start here with feet hip width apart or a hair wider, so that when you step your right foot straight back, you have a little bit more of that space side to side. Right? We're not standing on a tightrope. That makes the balance more challenging. Okay, with your inhale, come all the way up. Right, and then just take a moment to check front knee over front ankle or back a little bit. And then way up on the ball of your back foot. Squeeze your legs towards one another like a scissoring action. And then feel like you could draw the crease of your left hip back a little bit to level out through your hips. Good. Inhale, bring your arms out wide. Right, setting the foundation can really help with balance. And then exhale, left arm under right. Again, either hands to shoulders or wrap so that you cross wrists and then palms come together. If that's not a workable option in your body, hands to shoulders is great. Good. Feel your low belly lift. Your outer waist hug in. Find a steady but soft gaze for your eyes. One simple point can help with balance. Good. Inhale, unwind, reach both arms up. And then exhale, hands down. Take a big step forward. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. Give yourself a full round of breath. And then go ahead, bring your feet together. I often find from that standing balance, right? If we come with feet together, the center of gravity is here instead of starting with feet way wide apart and having to find that back to center, right? So big toes together to touch. Start with hands to heart or hands to hips, whatever feels better. And then find that steady gaze point somewhere on the wall in front of you, right? Pick one point you can focus your eyes. And if you ever want to see how much your gaze affects balance, try closing your eyes as we do it. Makes a big difference. Okay, shift your weight into your left foot and then draw your right knee up. Flex your right foot. So just like when we're lying down, you've got this 90-degree angle, hip, knee, foot. Belly up. Outer waistline, drawstring in for support. Good. Keep your chest open and breathe. Okay, from here, we're going to go into warrior 3. So take a full breath in. And then as you exhale, you're going to press your right foot back. And you have a lot of options here for where, right? So your foot might be pretty close to the ground. And in that case, your upper body is going to be pretty upright so that there's this direct relation between your heel and the crown of your head, right? That it's like a pendulum. And so then the more you lift your leg, the more your upper body comes forward. Right? Also, the more you lift your leg, the more it might challenge the balance. So find what's right for you. Foot flexed. And just like we did this in the tabletop, right, roll your outer right hip down, keep your belly lifted. Hands to heart or reach your arms behind you. Good. Root down through your left foot. Okay, inhale, stand all the way up, bring your knee up. And then exhale, both feet down, hands to heart. Take a breath. Okay, shift sides. Stand into your right, bring your left knee up. Flex your foot. And when you do that often, it just really helps to engage the muscles on your leg. Press down into your right foot. I often find with balance poses, my weight wants to shift to one side of the foot or the other, right? So you can press a little bit more into the side that feels like it keeps peeling up off the mat. Okay, belly up, outer waist in. Right here, big balance. And then exhale, start to press the sole of your foot back as you hinge forward. Remember again, if your toes are closer down to the mat, which might give some nice balance, right? Or if you start to lift the leg up, then let your upper body hinge forward. If you're by a wall or a piece of furniture and that's helpful, do that. You can sweep your arms long, kind of like an airplane. Turn your palms down. Right, find that steady gaze point. So my leg just touched down, we giggle a little bit, then come back. Leave a wobble. Helps us not to take the practice too seriously when we start to wobble around a little bit. Okay, stand all the way up, inhale. And then both feet down, exhale, take a breath. Okay, we're gonna try one more balance pose, standing balance, definitely a little more challenging. So if you want that space at a wall, try that. And if we wobble and fall out, giggle, enjoy it, think about it as something to work towards. Okay, feet together, bend knees, sit back. And then you're gonna shift your weight into your left foot. And this time bring your knee, right knee over left, come across. So you can keep toes down here like a kickstand too, which is great. Or you can bring your shins parallel and lift your right foot. That's going to give you a little bit more balance action there. Okay, so this is eagle pose, and this is the part of the legs. And you might say, okay, I'm just going to work with the legs today and bring hands to hips. This is great, right? You'd squeeze your inner legs in and press down into your foot. If you want to add the arms, we already did that part, right? So inhale, arms out wide. And then exhale, right arm under left, just like we did in the lunge. Hands to shoulders or wrap hands. Good. Hug legs in. Belly toned and outer waist in for support. Check in with your breath and foundation. Okay, unwind, unwrap legs. You can shake it out a little bit. Balance poses are good for strong outer hips too. Okay, bend knees, sit back. Shift weight into your right, left knee on top. Okay, so toes down, great little kickstand. Or maybe you start to play with lifting toes up and flexing your foot, right? See, that changed the balance for me. Wherever you are, then give your inner legs a squeeze, your low belly up. And stay here if this feels good, amount of challenge for today. If you want to add arms, inhale arms wide, and then exhale, wrap, left arm under right, hands to shoulders, or take the wrap of wrists and forearms. Right, if you take this, bring your elbows up so they're in line with your shoulders. That sounds like a lot to focus on, let it go. Full breath in. Good. And then exhale, unwind, unwrap legs, good work. Hands to heart. Full breath in. Big breath out. Good. Inhale, both arms up. And then exhale, fold forward. Keep your spine long, hinge at your hips. Bend your knees enough to get your hands to your mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Right, root through your hands, lift your hips up high. Take a full breath in. And then exhale, child's pose. Right, so big toes together, knees wide. Stretch your hips back towards your heels. And for some of us, this isn't awesome on knees. So you're welcome to keep hips stacked over knees like tabletop and just walk your hands forward. Right, if you have a blanket, you could slide that behind your knees, or a pillow, sometimes just that extra little bit of support. Take a couple breaths. Let things start to soften a little bit. I think balance poses too are a great place to notice what our reaction is, like when we wobble or maybe fall out of the pose. Do we get frustrated? Do we laugh? Right, I know that it's just yoga, right? We want to work hard and take our practice seriously, but not take ourselves too seriously, and balance poses are a great place to play with that. Okay, walk your hands back, shift your hips to the side, come all the way down onto your back. Okay, come so you're in the center of your hips are in the center of your mat. Bend your knees, place your feet to your mat. Okay, figure four, so cross right ankle on left knee. And then you can see right here, for a lot of us, this is a really good stretch in the hip. Right, or bring your left knee, lost my body parts there for a second, in. You can take your hands behind your thigh or in front of your shin. Another great option here is if you're working towards lifting the leg, but it feels really far away, a block underneath your head brings you closer to your leg. Right, so just some things you can play with. Flex feet so legs are strong. And then as you draw your left thigh in towards your belly, right, feel like you can squeeze your outer right knee and your outer right hip towards one another to activate a little bit more through the outer hip. It's especially when we're doing those standing balance poses on one leg. Like we said, really strong for the outer hip. So just giving a moment to breathe and release. Good. And then left foot down to your mat. Unwind your legs. Switch sides. Left ankle, right knee. Right, again, either stay right here, this can be a great stretch, or bring your right thigh in. Right, so your left hand comes through this little keyhole triangle of your legs. Right hand wraps around. Take a hold behind your right thigh or the front of your right shin. Flex your feet, just like you're standing on them. Right, draw your right thigh in towards your belly. And I feel like you could stretch your right knee or left knee away from you. Right, just let the back of your head and your shoulders rest down so there's not a lot of effort there. Or you can try that block or even a pillow up underneath your head just to bring it a little closer. Good. Release your right foot back down, unwind your legs. Good. Hug both knees in. Give them a little rock side to side. And let's do one twist here lying down. Bring your right knee and stretch your left leg long. And you can keep feet flexed so legs are active. And then take right leg across your body to the left. It might just come part way. Your knee might come down to or towards the mat, wherever it goes. Right arm out to the side like a T shape or a cactus shape. And just let your head be heavy. Allow your right shoulder to drop back. And just take some steady breaths. And with your next inhale, unwind, come back to center, bring both knees in, and then switch sides. So keep your left leg in, stretch your right leg out, flex your feet, and then bring your left knee across your body to the right, right? Wherever it lands. I usually like to favor my left shoulder staying down, then my left knee getting to the mat, meaning if you get your left knee to the ground, but your left shoulder lifts way up, maybe back out of the twist a little bit so that the shoulder stays grounded. You can soften or close your eyes. And just let your attention stay with your breath. I also find that balance poses are great for staying focused. Because usually as soon as we start to think of something else when we're in the balance pose, that's where we wobble or fall out of it. So it's great for cultivating that connection between what's happening in our body and what's happening in our mind. And really, that's our yoga practice, right? It's finding a little bit quieter space as we move through our bodies. Good. Unwind, come all the way back to center, bring both knees into your chest, give them a little squeeze. And then we're going to take just a few moments in our final resting pose in Shavasana. So you can stretch your legs out long on your mat. If you want some support on your knees, if that feels better, do that. You can let your hands rest to your belly or right out by your sides with your palms up. Close your eyes, or again, just let your gaze get soft. Release any effort with your breath here. You can keep your focus on it, right? Notice what your breath is doing and where it's going, what it feels like, without having to do anything to it. These last few moments of the practice is really when everything integrates, and we're creating new muscle memory. Really helpful, especially with balance poses, that we're creating that within the balance, right? Every time we get a little wobbly and we save it, even when we fall, we come back, our body's learning how to create that balance, to create that stability. So as you enjoy these last few moments of rest here, know that that is settling in, so that each time we come back to the mat, we build on that. Take about 5 more breaths just like this. With your next inhale, reach your arms up overhead, take a full stretch. And as you exhale, draw your knees in towards your chest, roll to your side, and then press yourself all the way up to sitting. Whatever's a comfortable seat, bring your hands together at your heart, sit tall. And just take a moment to thank yourself for carving out this time for your practice, for allowing a little laughter for the places that were challenging. I know that we can keep coming back to it. Thank you so much for sharing the practice today. Namaste.